we'll definitely have a record of you attending the meeting. So with that being said, we're ready now to go over to Ruben, and Ruben and Geraldo are going to do the briefing on the learning continuity and attendance plan template.
Hello, everyone. This is Ruben Reyes, and I'm the superintendent here in Robla. And Gerardo, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Gerardo Castillo. I'm the CBO, Chief Business Official for Robla School District.
So welcome, everyone. We are here this afternoon to talk about the, as Mr. Raven said, the Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan. And this is a new requirement from the state. It is replacing LCAP. And so if you have worked with us in the past, you know that LCAP is the document that we submit to the state every year. And that is how we let the state know, and we let our community know how we are going to spend the state funding that we receive. The state this year has decided that we're going to forego that process for now. And they instead have given us a template to fill out a document that is much shorter than an LCAP, although it did come out to be about 30 pages in the end, that will tell the world, the state, and all of you as our community how Robla is functioning right now during this current pandemic. So we have a little bit of presentation here that I'll be doing that will just kind of walk us through that, that process. So the Learning Continuity and Attendance Plan, oddly enough, it's the same abbreviation, LCAP. But we're going to talk about Robla's distance learning model, which is the model we're currently in, and then Robla's transition model, which is the plan that we have when schools do reopen. The other requirement that districts have right now is to make sure that we are providing food to students, and we call that here in Robla our Meals on Wheels program. We'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk about where we're going from here with next steps, and then give you some time at the end to submit any questions that you may have. So as you know, this is a screen capture of the Robla School District website, where you click here to get access our distance learning model. And so this is what our families are doing every day in order to access the learning that teachers are providing during our daily schedule. This is a document that we created that we've shared with families, and we sent that out in a variety of ways, but this describes in detail, this is a very quick overview of how our system is working in distance learning. Now, as I shared, we also have a plan. This is the cover of that plan for schools reopening. We had planned to reopen originally in August of 2020. Of course, we were told then to move to distance learning, but we do have our plan, and we do not know when this plan will be implemented, but this plan is in existence. This is a much more detailed plan. It's 133 pages. And it describes exactly what will be happening in our schools, all of our processes and procedures for keeping employees and children safe, and how school will work when we're able to accept children back on campus. This document also has a one-page overview. This is it here. I think it's page 3 in the document. And it describes, again, in detail how these systems will work. And we're going to talk a little bit about those today as well. Now, the LCAP has some very specific components that must be there. And so there is a template that was provided by the state. It starts with the general information section so that we just describe, and we'll talk about that today, how COVID has impacted our school district and our community, and how we have put our systems in place to support our families and our employees during this time. As you know, schools closed in Robla on March 13th, and immediately we began our planning for how we were going to deal with distance learning in the spring until the school year ended in June. And then of course, over the summer, we met to update our plan and create what we now call Distance Learning 2.0, which began at the start of this new school year. During that time of school closure in the months of March, April, May, and June, I did provide a daily update to staff. And we also sent messages out regularly to parents. Those messages were translated into our 3 most common languages. We also posted them on social media and on our district website to make sure that parents had an understanding around all of the details of how things would work. We needed to let them know how to pick up computers. We needed to let them know how to pick up hotspots. We needed to let them know how to pick up school supplies. We needed to let them know how to access distance learning. And all of that information was shared regularly with parents via a variety of methodologies. Now, the LCAP document itself, or the local continuity and attendance plan, does require us to talk about how we have engaged with our community around this work. And you know that we have surveyed parents. We did that back in June to find out about their preferences for the models that we were considering. And we also did a very large, with a very good return of an employee survey, excuse me. It's my job to make sure that I'm having regular conversations with local health officials, as well as the Sacramento County Office of Education, to make sure we're getting the latest of information and that what ROBLA is doing adheres to the guidelines that are being put forth by the health officials in our community. And we are able to do that. I actually do that every week and have a weekly meeting with those authorities. We also engaged with our employee associations, and the result of that was memorandums of understanding to guide how school will work and employee responsibilities during both the distance learning model and the transition model. We have finished both of those MOUs for our classified employee group, and we have finished that model for the Teachers Association for the distance learning piece, but we'll be finishing that with them for the transition model, and those meetings actually start this week. And of course, we also engage with the ROBLA School Board to make sure that they have the latest of information. So they were included on those daily updates, and then I could formally present to them during our board meetings. So the LCAP also asks us what the results are from our engagement with our community, and we wanted to share here some of the results of things that were changed because of the input that we received from employees or parents. So first of all, we needed to do some work in the area of navigation. Parents had some difficulty finding certain things when it came to the distance learning. So we have made a move now toward using not only Google Classroom, but Google Sites. And many of our teachers have already created a website, and we are providing the support to other teachers to move towards that as well. We also in the spring had only loaned out enough computers so that every 2 children had to share one. So if there were 2 children in the family, they only got 1 device. We learned from feedback from our families that was very difficult. So now all students have their own device, and we're one-to-one, and there's no need for students to share anymore. We also learned from parents that they needed more structure for the school day. They sometimes had difficulty understanding when things were happening, when lessons were happening. And now we have a district-wide school day schedule, and that schedule reflects the following aspects. First of all, our instructional minutes exceed the state minimums. We're very proud that our teachers are providing more than the minimum of the instructional minutes that are required by the state. We are providing what we think our students need, and that is beyond what the minimum is for the state. Our schedule requires 2 daily live lessons that are 45 minutes a minimum each. We know that many teachers are providing more live instruction than that, but that is what our schedule reflects. Our schedule also reflects time each day to provide services to our neediest students. So students who need extra support because they might be below grade level, or students who are not proficient in English, or students who may have some other needs. There's time for specialist teachers to be working with them each day. And then we're very proud in Roba that our enrichment program continues during distance learning, and there's weekly opportunities for students to be involved in our enrichment programs, which of course are physical education, art, and technology. It's also very important to outline in our plan how we are making sure that we are all being held accountable to the responsibilities that we have, how we are holding students accountable and families accountable, and we are following all of the guidelines set forth by the state. So first of all, we make sure students are present by taking roll by 10:30 every morning. We also monitor engagement by checking when students are participating, and teachers on a daily basis complete a participation log to monitor that their students are participating all day. Teachers are also required to make a weekly individual contact with each student in their class. Principals are in addition to that, principals are monitoring engagement. And then we have a student find system so that when we do identify students who are less than engaged, less than fully engaged, that we have a system that reaches out to these families to find out what kind of support they need to make sure that that child participates more fully. Teachers provide weekly feedback to students, and we also continue to monitor student progress through our benchmark assessments that are implemented during distance learning. And we will hold students accountable by assigning grades at the end of each trimester, as has always been our, even though we didn't do it last spring, we are back to doing that with this new school year. It's important also in our plan to talk about how we meet the needs of our students, especially the individual needs that may be there, or the needs of students who have specific issues that may need some support. So we did do distance learning training for all teachers, and we did do Google Sites training for all teachers to make sure that they are as proficient as they can be to support our students. We do have professional learning communities. There are weekly meetings where teachers meet in teams to do their planning to make sure that our lessons are as effective as they can be. We also provide to these students small group instruction every afternoon, as I said, and we have specialist teachers in these areas. We have specialist teachers in special education for students who qualify for those services, students who need special support in speech and language, again, for students who qualify for those services. For students who are learning English, we have English language development teachers. And then we have intervention teachers also who are working with students who are academically behind. So all of these teachers have the opportunity each day to work with students who need these types of support. We also are monitoring, and our plan outlines in details how we are taking care of our students and their social emotional learning. So we do, as you're probably aware, have a number of people in our district whose job it is to monitor and support our students with their emotional state and their ability to interact with others, their social skills. And our school psychologists, our social workers, our coordinators of school climate, all of these staff members are still providing these services. Students who have the need might be identified by the teacher, or if these students were already on caseloads of some of these specialists, then they continue to meet with them, of course, virtually, but those services are still being provided. We also in Robla have curriculum focused on social emotional learning, and we actually started the school year by focusing on those things first. Before we got to academics, we thought it was important to give students and teachers a chance to bond and build relationships. And we focused on those curriculums to start the school year, and we'll continue to monitor that as the school year goes on. Our Meals on Wheels program, as you know, is a bit unique. Most school districts actually allow parents to come to the schools to pick up food. And in Robla, we actually put our food on our buses and have them have the food delivered out to our bus stops, so it's much closer for our families. We have a great team of food service workers and bus drivers who make this happen on a regular basis. Our weekly schedule is posted on our website. Any families who may not know when food is delivered, what days and times in their neighborhood, can refer to that schedule. Just recently, we started a new program, which is a second chance. So if you happen to miss the delivery at your bus stop on Tuesday through Friday, you can actually go to to some of our schools and pick up the food that you may have missed during the lunch break in the school day, which is from 11:45 to 12:15. So if you missed the other bus stop, you have that opportunity also to come in and pick up food. We're also very pleased that the national program granted us a waiver. So for a while we were requiring meal cards, and that's no longer the case. Now we can feed anybody in our community who is under 18. So we no longer need meal cards. Students can, children. So if there's a toddler or a baby, we can provide food for them as well. And we're very excited to be able to share that with our community. So our program will continue to evolve, and we will continue to make sure that our students are fed on a daily basis. So tonight is the beginning of this process with our learning continuity and attendance plan. We will formally present this plan. The same presentation will actually be done on Thursday night to the school board, which is open to all of you as the public. And it will be yet another opportunity besides tonight for you to provide any feedback or ask any questions. That will be at 5:30 on Thursday. That will be, again, virtual, and you can find that link on our website. And then beginning on that day and until the 24th, you have the opportunity. There will be a link on the website for you to send any feedback that you'd like us to see about our document. And then we will incorporate that feedback into the final document, which will be presented to the board for approval on September 24th at the regular board meeting, and that will be at 6:30. And that will help us to meet the requirement that this document be completed, presented to the public, and approved by our school board by September 30th. If we get approval on that night, then we will have met all of our requirements. Now, the other things that happen in the next steps, of course, have to do with when schools will reopen. And of course, we don't have any information now as to when that will happen. But I just wanted everyone to be aware that we will continue to monitor the COVID cases that are happening in Sacramento County and stay in communication with the County Office of Education, as well as the Sacramento County Department of Public Health. We will also, again, be surveying parents around their thoughts around reopening, making sure that they feel safe. We will be asking whether or not they feel that they can send their child to school or if they would like to remain on distance learning, and we will provide teachers who can do that if that's the case. And then, of course, before we reopen, we will continue to collaborate with our employee associations to make sure that they are comfortable with all of the guidelines we have in place in regards to the procedures that will be implemented when schools reopen. And again, we don't know when that will be. The numbers in our county right now don't even allow for us to consider that. But when they begin to go down and we are off the state watch list, then after a 14-day waiting period, we can consider opening up. And if those things begin to happen, we will be in communication with all of you around the details surrounding that. So now we are open for questions. And I think you have the ability to do that both through YouTube by submitting questions there, or you could, if you have questions that you would like to enter in the chat, if you are in the meeting, in the Zoom meeting, you have the ability to do that. So I'm going to stop sharing now and just give us some wait time for allowing people to submit any feedback or questions they may have.
I have it there.
You have the questions from... So I don't see any questions specific in the chat, but if anybody wants to ask a question, talk about it, I could actually allow you to talk. Just let me know, and I will do that. So you let me know through the chat, and I will allow you to talk. Will that be okay that way, John?
Actually, if you go up to the top of the attendee list, and just if you
Ask
can you,
everybody.
yeah, can you turn the mics on individually?
I think I do. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go number by number. So
Just start at the top of the chat list or the attendee list, and
okay, I want to do by this. This is a person. It's a phone number 8125. So I want to let you to. You have a question, just let us know. So I did that. There's no question.
yeah, I don't think so. So just
So the next one is yeah, okay. So I think it's Chico. So what is Chico? Disable talking or so Chico. Do you just want me to go one by one?
yeah, if we can. Otherwise, just do them all and then call them up. I just ask by individual.
Let me do that. So Anne, do you? She say not.
And bear with us, we are still learning this also.
But keeps moving. Cheryl,
Hi there, can you hear me?
yes,
Now we can.
yes. Do you have any questions, Cheryl?
No questions from me.
Okay. So so the next one is okay, thank you. Brittany.
Hi, I also have no questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I think let me see. I could not see the names fully here. So Chewy, is that's it right?
Yeah, Chulang.
Chuben.
He's not unmuted yet.
She's not in here, so she did not want to mute.
That's a he.
That's a he. Okay. He's muted, so he muted
Yeah.
himself. So
There you go. He's on.
No question.
no questions. Okay.
Thank you, Chu.
All right, thank you.
Joseph,
Yeah, you got to unmute him.
he's muted.
There. Now he can talk.
Oh, I don't have any questions. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Leah,
And she's still showing muted, but
yeah, they could mute themselves too. So that's what, even though. I assume there's no questions.
apparently there's no questions.
Okay.
So if nobody has any questions, and I don't see, is this presentation on YouTube as well? Can you answer that one?
Yeah, did you see that question on YouTube? What is the question?
Is this presentation on YouTube as well? And
Yes,
yes, it is.
it was recorded. Yes. So if there's no questions, I think we are. Anything else you want to say, John?
No,
Or Superintendent Reyes?
Thank you all for coming. And if you do, I see your message now. If you do have a question, you can put it in the comment box, or you can actually unmute yourself at this point and ask us. And apparently not. So
Well, if I could just, this is Ruben again. I would just interject here that if we do want questions, but we also want comments and feedback, and anything that anybody may have. Again, your next opportunity, if you don't have anything tonight, but if you talk to others and something occurs to you, would be to attend our board meeting, which again takes place at 5:30 on Thursday, and then at any point after that, as I said, you can go to our website, and the document will be there, and you can look at the document, all 28 pages, if you were interested in doing that. And there will be a link to comments there. And if you submit your comments in and that email link, we will receive them there. And if it's a question, we will get back to you. And if it's just something you would like us to consider, then we will definitely look at that. And this all would happen until, as we said, the 24th, which is when the document itself goes to our board for approval. So thank you all for coming tonight.
I have
And
a
on behalf of
question.
the DAC and DELAC committee, council, thank you all for your attendance, and we
That
look
sounded like there
forward
was a
to
question.
hearing from you.
It sounded like there was a question.
I have a
Yes.
question. Cecilia Perez. I'm a parent at Robla Elementary School. What if we, as parents, want to get our kids mentally prepared, just to see if they're, doing okay? If as parents don't see a sign of any kind of declining, but we just want to make sure that they are mentally good, or their mentally happiness is okay. Where is there a place that we can go to check that?
Yeah, this is Mr. Reyes again. I would say that a couple of options that are there for you are, number one, if you go to the district website, you will see a COVID resource page, and there are a number of links there, including resources for parents around children's mental health. I will also share, so that's one place. The other thing is that we actually are in the process of putting together some training for parents that we'll be offering soon, that help you to kind of learn about monitoring your child's, kind of emotional and social state during this time. And so we hope to kind of give you some skills there. And I think if you have any questions, whether you have concerns or just questions, you're always welcome to contact your school's social worker. And if you don't know who that is, simply call your school, and the secretary can give you that name and an email address or a phone number. And you are welcome to pick up the phone and call them anytime and ask them any questions that you may have around, anything specific that your child is exhibiting, or if you just want some more ideas about, kind of what to look for. Those are people who have a lot of information about those things.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I'll send her an email later because I know who that is.
Anybody else?
Cecilia, if you're still there, I'll send you an email probably within the next couple of or a few days for our site council meeting, and also to make sure that you did get answers.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if nobody else has any questions, once again, thank you. We're going to have to start shutting this one down so that we can do our Spanish version that starts at 5:15. You did record this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.